Good morning. How the devil are you? Slightly wet and windy day outside today, but we're going to try and do ourselves justice with a fun Facebook Live talk this morning. We're going to talk about your visual marketing and three little simple tips that hopefully can help you get it a little bit on track. If you haven't already got it on track for 2018, it's really important, obviously, to make your visual marketing work for you. If you're not already using visual marketing, where have you been? People have been talking about it for a long, long time. Let me introduce myself. I'm Simon Scholes, and I'm the founder and creative director of Perception Studios. We're an award-winning visual marketing agency based in Andover, but we work on a national system, and we work with a lot of different companies, helping brands and businesses create content that is really specific and bespoke to them. It could be showcase videos, it could be social media content, or what we're going to talk about today a little bit, we're going to cover the repurposing of Facebook Live content. So let's get kind of into the nitty gritty straight away. First things first, I want to talk to you about your marketing calendar. Do you have a marketing calendar in place for your business? This is a big thing to think about, and it's a really important question as well. You've probably spent part of January, maybe the start of January, setting your goals, all that kind of stuff. Getting yourself into a position so that you know what you're going to be aiming for in 2018. I've done this. I've got a bunch of goals that I want to hit, a couple of personal ones, one based on the business as well. And those goals have been broken down. I've taken them down into monthlies. I've taken them down into quarterlies, into dailies even for some of them. And so they all aim towards these one big ultimate goals, three of which there are over the year. And yeah, so you've probably done the same thing yourselves. You've probably broken down your goals and you've got all your goals set out for 2018. But do you have a marketing calendar in place? It's so important to know exactly where you're going to go with your marketing. Otherwise, you end up just with a scattergun approach. So many people approach marketing in the fact that I don't know what to do today. I better do some tweets, or I better do a bit of Facebook, or I better do some stuff on Instagram. And they just go bleh and just flow things out and hope it's going to hit people and have an impact for their business. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes it goes viral, sometimes you've got a really great idea that works brilliantly. Other times it does nothing and you get a bit despondent and you stop doing it again. And then another month later you go, oh, I really should do some stuff on Twitter. I really should do. And you start going through this circle, constantly doing that kind of stuff, constantly doing it, stopping, starting again, stopping, starting. And you've got to keep on a schedule, really. People like to see regular things happening with businesses and constant content coming out. So this is where the marketing calendar will really, really help you. Have a think about your business and how you could break it down throughout the year. You could be a plumber, for example, and you could be thinking, right, okay, in January, a lot of boiler breakdowns are happening. It's a cold month, so I want to be selling new boilers. In the end of the year, I know people should really be getting the servicing done so the boilers don't break down. So how about we start pushing more servicing for the end of the year? And what you do is you get your calendar in place as a business and you go, this is what I should be doing work-wise. And then you kind of just shift it ever so slightly. So if you are doing boiler servicing as a plumber in November and December, then you shift it, the purpose, a little bit earlier and go, right, okay, in August and September, that's when I should be looking to do my marketing, because hopefully people will see it and do it a little bit earlier. But also the people in October will hopefully be doing their boiler servicing a month earlier. So you're spreading yourself a little bit longer so that you're not so rushed and that you can actually afford the time to do all the work that you're generally doing and trying to cram into a short space of time. And it's the same with any business. You just have to have a think about how your calendar can work for you. You could be a life coach, for example, and all you have to do then is latch onto trends that are happening. Things like January the 5th is the biggest date for when people file for divorce. And obviously, as I mentioned at the start of this Facebook Live, people doing their goal setting, well, you could have helped them through that process from December rather than talking about it in January, or even set them up for it more in November so that they're going through the goal process in December, January, and they know where they're already going. Do you get what I'm trying to say? It's kind of, once you've got your calendar in place, you can really plan your year a lot better. So have a think about your marketing calendar. It's really, really important to think about this. Once you've got your marketing calendar in place and you know where you're going with things, then you can think about how you're going to market yourselves. The first thing you should really be thinking about, because we want to talk about Facebook Live specifically today, is blogs. So get your blogs written. You've got your calendar in place, so you know what you're going to be trying to sell and what you're going to be talking about throughout the whole of the year. So why not write blogs connected to that content. You can write, if you say you want to do 2 Facebook Lives a month, that's 24 blogs that you have to write over the year. Number one, the blogs are great because they're going onto your website. Your website's then constantly being updated. Google is seeing your website's being constantly updated with textual content. And then there's other things that will work in your favor a little bit further down the line. So this brings me on to point number 2. Once you've got your blog in place, which is part of your marketing calendar, this is when you start thinking about Facebook Lives. Have you been brave enough to do a Facebook Live yet? They're not as daunting as you may think, especially if you know what you're going to be talking about, rather than just sitting in front of a camera going, yeah, today we're going to talk about, I don't know, what should we talk about? Instead of that kind of thing, or even starting a Facebook Live, and I've seen this a lot, please don't do this, because you've got to remember Facebook Lives need to be viewable after the live event. Don't sit there waiting for people to come onto the Facebook Live going, well, we'll just wait until a few people come and join us. So we'll just sit here. And you see people sat there in silence, waiting for people to come and watch their Facebook Live. Nobody may come and watch a Facebook Live. That's the risk you take. But it sits on your group, it sits on your page after the event, so people can come and watch it then. But if they're coming to watch it then and they're sat there watching you for 5 minutes going, well, we're just waiting for a few people to come and join us, that's going to bore the pants off them. And they're just going to switch off and not listen to what your message is further on in the video. It's so important to just really bang, smack, straight into the video, get going. So yes, Facebook Lives, anyway, as I was saying, it's a huge, huge deal for Facebook at the moment. They're really trying to push content and get people using all the software that is on their software, on their platform. So their scheduling software, make sure you're using that. Facebook Live is a huge, huge benefit to your business. So make sure you're doing Facebook Lives. And if you've never done one before, try doing it privately. You can set them on your own timeline that only go to you. So you can do it and you can just go, oh, I'm not so sure, maybe I should change this, maybe I should change that. Don't worry about how you look. Don't worry about how you sound. Nobody likes those things when they look at themselves or hear themselves. I used to work in radio. I did that for well over a decade. And as a presenter, there was nothing worse than sitting down with your boss and listening to your own voice come out of the radio as they did what's called a snoop. And they go, this is good, this is good, this is terrible, don't do that ever again. And it's the worst thing in the world, just listening to your own voice. So even as a radio presenter, trust me, I didn't like hearing my own voice, but you just got to get over that barrier, crack on and do your first Facebook Live. They're really, really great. And once you've done your first Facebook Live, it's a bit like having a video created for your website. You can't just expect it to bring you business. Sorry, you keep rocking, you're sat on my knee. You can't just expect it to bring you business. Just because it's there doesn't mean it's going to bring people to see you. That's not how video works. Just because you've got a video on your website, just because somebody's made you an all singing, all dancing video on your website, it does not mean people are going to automatically visit your website. Yes, if it's tagged correctly and used properly, it can increase your SEO on your website. It will increase your dwell times. But you've got to make sure people are seeing it. Otherwise, what's the point in the video? It's just another nice piece of content sat on your website. And it's the same with Facebook Live. It's sat on your page, it's sat in your group, but it's not doing any good for you unless you get people to see it. This is where my third part comes in. And this is where maybe we can help, or you can do it yourself if you're proficient with editing tools and things like that, which is repurposing of content. I spoke about this last year quite a bit. Spoke about it at quite a lot of networking events I went to. I did a Facebook Live about this as well. Repurposing your content on Facebook Live, making it actually work for you. You can take that video that you've done, this Facebook Live that I'm doing right now, and make it actually drive customers, potential customers, to your main hub. And it is so, so simple. It just takes a bit of work and a bit of knowledge and a bit of thought process. So you've done everything else. You've done your Facebook Live. Then you take your Facebook Live, you can download it, and you can repurpose it. You can edit it. You can take small chunks of your video that might be really poignant and actually edit those into smaller bite-sized pieces that will really hit home with people where they're going to see them. You can also take those pieces of content that you said something really poignant and turn it into what's called a meme. Now, a meme is a photograph. It could be a photo of you. It could be a photo of anybody else. It could be a photo of your product, but with a statement next to it that is really poignant and really strikes home to the people who actually get to see it. So think about that. When you're doing your Facebook Lives, try and make sure that you're actually saying something that's going to be useful to people. You're trying to solve a problem after all as a business. Otherwise, who's going to buy your product? You're trying to connect to them emotionally as well. So make sure that you're doing that within your Facebook Lives as well as a business. So once you're actually repurposing on your content, then you can put it out there and get people to see it. Now, if you want to know a little bit more about repurposing content, making it work for you, where you should be posting what and where and when, and all that kind of thing, and how you can make your Facebook Lives maybe look just a little bit better. It doesn't need to look the most professionally shot video in the world, because content is king. And all you're trying to do is just draw people back to your main hub of content. So if you want to know more about everything that I've spoken about this morning, the marketing calendar, Facebook Live, and how you can make it look a bit better, repurposing your content, I would be more than happy to answer your questions. Please feel free to leave questions underneath this video if you're watching it as a recording. If you're watching it live right now, leave some questions below. And then if there's enough questions and people needing some answers, I'll do another Facebook Live answering all your questions. And yeah, we can go from there. So thank you very, very much for watching today. It's been a fun Facebook Live, even though I've not been talking specifically to anybody who's watching. But thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. And yeah, I will see you next time, and maybe even sooner when I'm answering some of your questions. Have a great rest of your day. Hopefully you stay dry and don't get blown away, because it is horrible outside. I'm glad I'm in here. I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Bye.